Welcome to From the Cold Corner, a podcast devoted to those impacting the cold food and beverage supply chain. I'm Michael Costa, editor-in-chief of Refrigerated and Frozen Foods magazine, and today our guest is Jeff Weber, founder and CEO of Aqua Kombucha. Welcome to the Cold Corner, Jeff.
Thanks, Michael.
And Jeff, before we get started, for those in our audience that aren't familiar with Aqua, can you tell us what Aqua is and give us some background and history on the product?
Yeah, so Aqua is a kombucha manufacturer located in Middlebury, Vermont. We got started in 2007. We were very early to the kombucha category and have spent a lot of time pioneering the scalability and viability of kombucha and disrupting as much as we can along the way.
Okay. And for those who aren't familiar with what kombucha is, can you tell us a little bit about kombucha?
Yep, I've been in it for so long, I forget that people still are learning about kombucha. So kombucha is an ancient Asian beverage used as a folk remedy for many, many years. Similar to a sourdough starter, it's constantly reproducing the microorganisms you use to make kombucha. And it has been passed around from person to person, household to household for generations. And we have figured out how to make it available to people that don't want to produce it themselves. And it's a beverage simply made from tea and sugar that goes through a fermentation process, very complicated fermentation process, using different yeasts and bacteria of this ancient culture. And the resulting beverage is a slightly effervescent, probiotic rich, nutrient dense, very gut impacting health beverage.
Okay. And I'm familiar with it here at home because my wife makes her own kombucha with the SCOBY, and she makes tepache as well. So we have a few fermented drinks at home. But I've had Aqua before. It's delicious. And like you said, it's a bit of an undertaking if you're making it at home. So it's much more convenient if you can go get it at the store. What is your target demographic for Aqua?
Well, we're targeting really everybody. We're focused on disrupting the soda category. We'd love to see people shifting their craving for carbonated beverages to something that is helping their digestion, their overall health, and moving them away from sugar. So we do that by having a range of products, some that are sort of entry level for people that are new to the category, new to kombucha, and all the way up to sort of more aggressive flavors. And the idea there is that we can target the person that is kombucha enthusiast, understands the product, wants a more aggressive kombucha, but we can also bring people into the category and try to make flavors and packaging that kids like to see and pick up and have their parents buy for them as well.
And you have people may not know that kombucha creates alcohol.
Correct.
And so Aqua has an alcohol version. It's not very high alcohol, and also a non-alcohol version.
Yeah. Yeah, so any product that is consuming, the yeast is consuming sugar is going to yield alcohol. With kombucha and other products that are also going through a bacteria fermentation, a lot of that alcohol gets consumed by the bacteria and turned into organic acids, but not all of it. And the regulation in the United States is that a non-alcoholic beverage has to be below 0.5%. So our process, allowing it to be a natural fermentation, the way it's been done for thousands of years, will result in a 1.5 to 2.5% alcohol content. So we then take that and we run it through a very specialized low temperature vacuum distillation process that strips the alcohol off, but leaves all the microorganisms alive and intact and healthy, so that we can have both a non-alcoholic line and an alcohol line.
Okay. And coming out of the pandemic, like we are, there's been a strong focus on health and wellness products. How has your business grown in the past year, given that, and also given that people were shopping in stores more?
Yeah, we're seeing tremendous growth, especially on the what we call the RTD, the ready to drink packaged kombucha, being bought in larger formats. We've seen over 50% growth in the last 6 months, which is great. It really shows that people are paying more attention and worried about their immunity and doing things to proactively address their immune system. And a lot of the flavors, some of the earlier flavors that we designed were focused on other functions besides the benefits that come with kombucha. So we pair our flavorings with other medicinal properties. So for instance, elderberry was one of our first flavors back in 2008. A lot of people still didn't even realize what elderberry was yet. And now it's come to light. It's a very popular flavor, berry that's being used in drinks all across the spectrum. And it has antiviral properties. So, paired with all the gut benefits of kombucha, people are really making wise decisions and buying a lot more Aqua ViTea's elderberry than they had before.
And with your growth in business, how have you adjusted your distribution to stores and to whoever your clients are?
Yeah, distribution for kombucha is challenging, right? Because it is a live product. It needs to stay refrigerated. Mm-hmm. We need to align with distributors that can handle refrigerated distribution. So early on for us, we aligned a lot with produce distributors, people that had cold product that needed to get to the stores. Sometimes we had a distributor that all they sold was milk and eggs and kombucha, which is kind of a good pairing for me because they're, in my mind, they're all essentials. But as we grow and expand, we've had to look outside of those kind of smaller local produce distributors and find distributors that can handle more cold chain. And we've been successful in doing that in a number of ways. The market's shifting for beer distributors as well, because a lot of beer distributors seeing losses in alcohol sales, they're now having to start focusing on non-alcoholic beverages as well. And a lot of them do require some refrigeration. So we're seeing a shift there where beer distributors are starting to buy trucks to do cold chain. And so that's been beneficial. And also, as we've been able to scale and evolve our process and our product, we're able to get longer periods of time where we're outside of distribution before there's any concern of shelf life impact. So kind of those two things coupled allows us to focus on local distributors, regional distributors, and then with the national distributors, it's still all via cold chain.
And how many states are you available in right now?
We're currently available in 28 states.
Okay.
Yeah, and most widely available in 14. Really focused our growth initially on the Northeast,
which is where you are. And do you have one processing plant? Two? How many?
We have a single processing plant. It's large enough for us to grow into for many years to come, but it's based here in Middlebury, Vermont. It's a tiny little New England town with a lot of beverage infrastructure. So we're fortunate to be able to take advantage of that.
Okay. And in that plant, have you made any decisions to move to automated equipment or to sort of, I guess, modernize what you've been doing, or was it like that from the start?
No, we've definitely been putting in more automation as we grow. Whether it's a case erector or a depalletizer pushing the glass on the conveyor belt. But it's coupled with two things. Obviously, you're looking for margin improvements, but you're also looking for quality improvements. And the more you can streamline quality processes, the better it is for growth.
Okay. And tell me about the different types of pack sizes you have for Aqua ViTea's, and one of them is a keg, correct?
Yeah, we really started the keg business. We were the first ones to do self-serve kombucha in fountains and stores. And that was really the focus of our growth for the first 10 years. The bottles of kombucha were kind of secondary. And I think we were up to close to 700 fountains across New England where people could come back in with their growler and refill or buy empty vessels there and fill them. And that certainly was challenging because we were taking a distribution concept from beer and pushing it into a natural food distribution channel that wasn't used to kegs, moving stainless steel kegs to a store, having to pick them back up, get a deposit on them, bring them back to the manufacturer site. Everything was one direction. And all of a sudden we were trying to create a double direction distribution model. So that was challenging. And then COVID really wiped out the self-serve kombucha for us, especially when it was very alarming that that COVID was living on surfaces. Now that that's sort of moving away or been debunked, we're seeing that come back. So the keg business at one point was representing close to 60% of our business, and now is probably down to 25% as the package has grown. And we also moved to cans last year, which allowed us to play with our price point a little bit, because it's four fewer ounces per serving, 12-ounce serving compared to a 16. It's lighter pack weight, it's more recyclable. And so we're having a lot of growth right now on cans, and those are available in single serves and in 4-packs. And we're doing that with our hard kombucha line as well. And then we've been in a 16-ounce glass bottle for quite a while. And our strategy right now is to keep that in the Northeast and push the cans more nationally.
And that should continue to pick up. One of the categories that really tanked last year were self-serve or individual serve size beverages, because people weren't going anywhere. They were at home.
Yeah, there's a lot of growth in what we call the larger format kombucha servings. And some people are addressing that by selling 64-ounce glass bottles. We're doing it by selling 4 6-pack cans. So you're getting same volume of liquid, but every serving is freshly opened rather than something that's multiply opened and closed.
Okay. And from a sustainability standpoint, what are your company's sort of short-term and long-term goals?
Yeah, well, we've always been focused on organic ingredients. There's one ingredient that we use that is not organic, which bothers me still, but we like working with apples up here in Vermont. There's a lot of apple growers. It's very hard to find organic apple crops here in the Northeast. But otherwise, we're 100% organic. It means everything to us that we're putting back to farms. My background started on organic farms, so that's been a major component for us, and working with those farmers. Unfortunately, the 2 base ingredients are not domestically produced products. We use tea and sugar. Sugar is coming from South America, and tea is coming from China and in India. And so we have a personalized tea broker that we work with here in Middlebury that goes over and sources that tea directly from the farmers. So we like to think of it as a little bit evolved from fair trade, because we have the guy actually putting his hands on the crop and the farmers, rather than working with a third party to verify that. And then, of course, from the packaging perspective, we still are striving to push as much product as we can through a keg model, so that we can eliminate all the packaging waste. So much of what you pay for when you buy a beverage ends up in the recycling bin, and that's always been hard for me to stomach. Since the beginning of the company, wanting to get this liquid in people's hands and change their health and wellness, but do it without the cost of sustainability.
And speaking of your keg model, with bars and restaurants opening now, and you had a tap sort of model for your kombucha, both hard and regular, are you looking at expanding into food service more in the coming year?
Yeah, we see a lot of potential growth in the food service. As the category evolves and kombucha becomes a little bit more mainstream, people are looking for it everywhere they shop, not just at the natural health food stores. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity there. We've done a great job in our backyard working into that space, first starting off with the UVM, University of Vermont Medical System here. We put kegs into the hospitals, and it's amazing to walk in there and see the doctors and patients alike walking around with kombucha in their hands. That's me. That's where kombucha should be. You have to pair proper nutrition with good health, and to think that you're waking up out of surgery and being handed a Sprite or a Coke just never made sense to me. So yes, I think food service has tremendous opportunity.
Okay. And in the coming year and maybe into 2022, what's on the horizon for your company as far as new flavors or any other avenues of distribution or something along those lines?
Yeah, we're constantly playing with new innovation concepts, whether it's delivery of product, working on, like I said, kind of evolving the fountain model to be even more sustainable than it has been, and make it easier to service and to get into the food service industry. But then also extension product lines. We'd like to have a full family of brands in the next 5 years that covers a lot of functionality and fun.
Okay. And that's all the questions I have. Was there something I missed or something you wanted to add?
No, I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much for thinking of us. Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Great.
And thanks to you, our listeners. If you have any comments or questions, you can contact me via email at costam@bnpmedia.com. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, or if you have an idea for a topic, please let me know. Until next time, this is Michael Costa from the Cold Corner.